If we get to 23,000 subscribers off of today's video, I'll do whatever the most liked comment is in the comment section. Now, the only two rules I have is I'm not going to quit my job, and I'm not going to do anything that'll get me fired from my job. But we are a little over 150 subscribers away from reaching 23,000. And when you look at the analytics over the last 90 days, we have picked up in that neighborhood on a couple of videos. So it can be done. I believe in Broncos country. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and like whatever comment you want to see me do in the comment section below. Coming up on today's show, we're going to run through 5 bold predictions for the Broncos' upcoming season. You guys know I like to get on the spicier side despite hating spice when it comes to actually eating food during the summer months. So I thought, you know what, for today's video going into the 4th of July weekend, long weekend-ish, I guess, we're going to run through some of my bold predictions. And my first bold prediction is Jarrett Stidham will start week 1 over Bo Nix. I have been like Michael Scott in the dinner party episode, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap, between Stidham and Nix starting. But as of July 3rd, 2024, I will proceed with Jarrett Stidham starts week 1. That'll probably change in a week or so, despite them not practicing over the last couple of weeks and so. But the tough pill that Broncos country needs to swallow is Jarrett Stidham was QB1 in the spring. We're all rooting for Bo Nix because Bo Nix's ceiling is likely higher than Jarrett Stidham's, and whenever you take a quarterback in round 1, you're going to rally around that guy, and you hope he's the next messiah for your franchise, and you'll end the drought of looking for a franchise quarterback, which is usually what's going on if you're drafting a QB in round 1. But for now, I do think people need to come to terms with Jarrett Stidham was the better quarterback in the spring. And that's not just by my opinion. That's by a lot of accounts of boots on the ground, local beat reporters, people close to the team. While it was close, Jarrett Stidham did have a slight lead, and that's not a bad thing. Like, it's spring practices for a rookie quarterback. There are going to be some growing pains as you mostly spend the spring just learning the playbook and learning the jargon and the lingo that your new offense runs under. But it's not uncommon for quarterbacks taken in round 1 not to start week 1. Kenny Pickett didn't do that 2 years ago. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Tua, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love. Some of these are not surprising, but some of them are probably a little bit surprising. Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins. Baker Mayfield was the first overall pick in the draft. He did not start week 1. Neither did Josh Allen, the 7th overall pick, or Josh Rosen, or Lamar Jackson. So Bo Nix is not sailing into uncharted waters of round 1 quarterback that doesn't start week 1. Oh my God, he's going to be awful. No, you would say it's probably more likely he does not start just based on past history. So with that in mind, Jarrett Stidham, I think, currently has the starting gig, and it is his job to lose. Now, we saw 2 starts from Stidham last year, 2 starts in Las Vegas the year before that, and a couple of relief appearances for the Patriots before that. But I think it'll be Jarrett Stidham to start week 1 in Seattle against the Seahawks. I don't think we're going to see Stidham start for the entire season, but I do think if it's his job to lose, he could hold on to it during training camp. Now, who do you think will be the week 1 starter? Jarrett Stidham or Bo Nix? And I'll toss in Zach Wilson to be nice to Zach Wilson because he just got engaged to an absolute smoke show. So congratulations to Zach Wilson. He is killing it this summer. He's doing a lot better than the rest of us are. All right, bold prediction number 2. Tim Patrick bounces back strong and finishes 2nd in yards. This one's definitely on the spicier side given Marvin Mims ascending, signing Josh Reynolds, and Tim Patrick coming off a torn Achilles and a torn ACL over the last 24 months. But I do think it is in Tim Patrick to be this team's number 2 wide receiver in yards. Go back to 2021, the last time he was on the field, 734 yards. If that was the stat line for 2023, I think he would have edged out Jerry Jeudy in yards. So 734 yards is not a number that can't finish 2nd for the Broncos. And from a lot of accounts during the spring, Tim Patrick looked, quote, back. Like a lot of people thought Tim Patrick was looking like what he looked like in the 2021 season. So if we get a 734-yard man in 2024, I don't see a reason why that can't finish 2nd, especially for the style of receiver he is, which is kind of the short intermediate style play, which Sean Payton loved in New Orleans with Michael Thomas, and what Bo Nix did so well in Oregon. It could be a perfect triangle between Nix, Payton, and Patrick. Bold prediction number 3. I've got Denver extending Baron Browning in the middle of the season. George Payton has done that before, did that with Tim Patrick, did that with Courtland Sutton. And as the former third-round pick out of Ohio State enters the final year of his rookie contract, I could see Browning getting a midseason extension. Now, in my eyes, there are 2 candidates to get a midseason extension up front. It's either Baron Browning or it's his fellow Buckeye Jonathan Cooper, who was the team sack leader a year ago with 8.5, put together a dominant season. Former 7th-round pick has really shot up the ranks since being drafted by the Broncos. But I'll lean with Baron Browning because when all these players are healthy, I think Browning is this team's number 1 pass rusher. Now, he missed about a third of last season recovering from an off-season knee surgery. But if Browning played the entire 2023 season, here are the prorated stats. 42 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. So very close to what Jonathan Cooper was able to do last year, but I ultimately am going to side with Baron Browning as someone more likely to get that extension. It's not a slight against Cooper. I just think Baron Browning's impact on the field, it weighs a little bit more, and I think the front office views that the same way. So for me, if I'm picking one of these 2 players as more likely candidates to get a midseason extension, I'll go with Baron Browning. Now, what could that look like? 3-year, $40 million contract. That pays him an average of $13.3 million, which would make him the 14th highest paid outside linebacker. From Browning's perspective, you could wait until free agency. You could get some more money if you have a really strong 2024 season, end the year with big numbers, and you could probably get a 4-year, maybe $50+ million contract. Actually even higher than $50 million, pay you around $15 million a season. Or you could look at it as, hey, I've already had 1 knee injury in my NFL career, and if a team in September, October wants to approach me with 3 years, $40 million, call it $30 million guaranteed, a lot of times when a piece of paper is put in front of you that says, if you sign this right now, you get $30 million, it's tough to pass on that. So I could see why Browning would sign this, and then from the Broncos' perspective, they may want to lock up their number 1 edge rusher and not gamble in free agency with losing him. So what do you guys think about this? Should the Broncos extend Baron Browning? Give me a yes or give me a no down below in the comment section. I'm on board with the idea. I want to hear your opinion, though. Bold prediction number 4. The Broncos end a 5-year drought that is not anything related to the playoffs, which is probably what you thought I was going to say next, but it is a franchise-long playoff drought, which is the Broncos have to go all the way back to 2018 for the last time they had a player record 10 or more sacks in a season. Look at the sack leaders over the last 8 years. Jonathan Cooper, the best of the bunch, at 8.5 since Von Miller in 2018 with 14.5. The Broncos have never gone 6 years without having a player reach 10+ sacks in a season. And that's because they've had a lot of really good pass rushers in their history, and it also helps when you have future first ballot Hall of Famer Von Miller in your history as well for about a decade. But when you look at Denver's front 5, it doesn't have a clear-cut number 1 Pro Bowl alpha pass rusher. It's got a lot of really good quality pieces, which is why I'm more upbeat about this pass rush than maybe your average NFL pundit is. But the top 4 pass rushers for this upcoming season, likely Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, Baron Browning, and Zach Allen. So if we narrow our scopes a little bit to these 4 players who could get up to 10 sacks, I'm going to go with the man that I think the Broncos could extend midseason. Give me Baron Browning. Switches over to number 5. Hopefully he can repair the damage done to that jersey number by Randy Gregory. And I think he could put up a 45 tackle, 9 tackle for loss season with 10 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Those are just my projections for Browning this upcoming season. But this will be the last year the Broncos do not have a 10+ sack player. Baron Browning ends that drought and gets to that double-digit number. Bold prediction number 5. Had to talk about Bo Nix, right? I'd be fired if I did not talk about Bo Nix. Bo Nix sets the Broncos' rookie single-season passing record. This is not that bold of a prediction, but I just want to put it on people's radars that it's not going to be very difficult for Bo Nix to accomplish this because the bar is just not that high. You look at Denver's top 5 rookie passing yards leaders. You got to go back to 1963 to find the number one, Mickey Slaughter, 1,689 yards. That's the number to beat. And I'm guessing in 1963, 1,600 yards was probably top 5 in the NFL. So kudos to Mickey. John Elway had a little less than that, 1,663, nearly 40 years ago. Wow. And then most recently, though, like Drew Lock and Jay Cutler in this millennium coming in a little over 1,000 yards. So the bar's not super high for Bo Nix, but I think he can break that record. Now, I do think Broncos country needs to come to grips with they are going to watch something they haven't watched a whole lot of, which is rookie quarterback play. Look at the NFL starts by a rookie quarterback since 1950, top 5 and bottom 5. No fan base has seen more rookie quarterback play since 1950 than the LA Rams or the Cleveland Browns. Meanwhile, the Broncos are coming in at 30th with only 40 starts made by a rookie quarterback. Now, if you want to get a little bit more specific, how about round 1 rookie quarterbacks? Okay, Broncos come in at 23rd with just 24 starts since 1950. I'm blown away, by the way, that the Raiders are 32nd. That just seems like a franchise that never has consistent QB play. So you'd think they draft a lot of quarterbacks, but the more you think about it, like Derek Carr was there for a long time, and he was a second-round draft pick, so he would not fit the bill for this. Only 2 starts made by a rookie quarterback. One has to be Jamarcus Russell. I don't know who the other one is. That's some good trivia. But I ultimately think Bo Nix will finish with a stat line somewhere in this neighborhood. I think for starters, he's not going to start all 17 games. I could see him starting 13 games. Maybe we see Jarrett Stidham start the first 2, maybe 3 games. Maybe an injury knocks him out for a week. And in 13 games, I could see Bo Nix throwing for 2,800 yards, which would absolutely squash the Broncos rookie single-season passing record, 15 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. So, be honest. Can Bo Nix get over 3,000 passing yards in year 1? Give me an O for over or a U for under. If he plays 14, 15 games, I think he absolutely should get to 3,000 passing yards. If he plays all those games and doesn't get to 3,000, like, we've got a little bit of a problem. So, be honest with me. Can Bo Nix get over or under, 3,000 passing yards in his rookie year? As always, we wrap up the show with some summer hot takes. The high in Denver today is like 92 degrees, so another fajitas plate hot take, and I like this one a lot. My fajitas plate hot take for this episode is I'm going to go 4 for 5 on my bold predictions. I'm not going to try and sell you guys on a bunch of magic beans that I know every single thing, and I'm going to go 100% on every take I ever give on this channel. But I am feeling pretty confident about these takes, and I will revisit them next July when I do bold predictions for 2025, and I look back at what I said for 2024, because I do love to be completely transparent with you guys and let you know everything I've ever said before. So my confidence scale for the 5 takes I gave, the number one most confident thing about is Bo Nix sets the record for passing yards by a Broncos rookie. That I'm going to put all of my money on. As long as he does not suffer a season-ending injury in week 1, Bo Nix will definitely beat 1,600 yards. Number 2, Broncos end that 5-year drought with no player having 10 or more sacks. I think Baron Browning, or I'll spread my chips around. Maybe Jonathan Cooper gets that number as well. Number 3, Jarrett Stidham starts week 1. I put this one right in the middle because it does feel like a middle-worthy one, right? Bo Nix could very well take the job during training camp, or it could be Stidham that holds on to it into September. Number 4, Tim Patrick finishes with second most yards on the team. Courtland Sutton feels like the most obvious candidate to do so, but there are a lot of guys in that same level of tier, like Marvin Mims, Josh Reynolds, Tim Patrick, and one of them could easily emerge as the second leading receiver on the team. And then finally, Baron Browning getting extended. It's tough to do contract projections. There's just so many variables that go into it, and so many things can change that you just can't predict. If Baron Browning gets injured week 1, like that's probably not going to happen. But if Baron Browning stays healthy and starts to ball out, he may opt to not sign a contract and wait until free agency and maybe get some more money. So I'll put that at number 5, but I'll say I'm going to go 4 for 5 on these bold predictions.